Chapter 422. An attack that erodes the mind? I'll let you see what the all-destroying destruction sword Dao Will is. Yi Chen had 3 great sword intents. The main one was the Immortal sword intent, and the branches were the destruction and slaughter sword intents. The Immortal sword intent was the most powerful one, which made it unbreakable and unbreakable. Meanwhile, the destruction and slaughter were pure killing intents, which were more advantageous in terms of attacking. Especially the destruction one, which was slightly more powerful than the slaughter one. With the enhancement of the destruction sword intent, Yi Chen did not try to dodge at all. He threw out a sword attack, and that slightly surreal sword chi was like a sharp chi flow, clashing with the pale ghost fire. Boom! 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 The two were like water and fire, neither giving way to the other. They continued to accumulate power and attack, trying to drown each other. Within a blink of an eye, the two had been destroyed at the same time. It was not that Yi Chen's destruction sword intent was not powerful, but that Ghost Moon's secret martial art was just too strange. Using it to connect with his martial intent and his own Jin Yuan, the attack he threw out was enough to wound a Sea of Souls realm warrior at the same level. It was already very horrifying for Yi Chen to be able to handle it. If he could break it, then even Ghost Moon would have to escape. Destruction sword intent. He has actually learned the sword intent's element. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Damn it. Ghost Moon felt like he had been slapped in the face. Yi Chen had blocked out his attacks again and again, shattering all of his words. He was about to lose his mind. He was confident that if Yi Chen's sword intent was similar to a normal Sea of Souls realm sword artist, then he would definitely be able to beat him. But, Yi Chen had somehow managed to learn the sword intent that even Sea of Souls realm sword artists could not. So powerful. Is he really an astral-reaching realm warrior? Wang Tong had been traveling around the world a lot, so there was nothing he had not seen before. But this time, he was truly shocked by Yi Chen. With his peak-level late astral-reaching realm cultivation, he was able to fight against Ghost Moon, a Sea of Souls realm warrior. It was beyond his imagination. He did not know how powerful the famous Thunder Princess was, but in his mind, she was probably at this level, perhaps even weaker. Immortal sword intent, destruction sword intent. One person with 2 sword intents. Murong Qingqing knew everything about Yi Chen. In the early days, Yi Chen had the immortal sword intent. She was indeed surprised, but she didn't think it was ridiculous. Everyone had their own opportunities, it was just a matter of size. However, after having the immortal sword intent, he was able to comprehend the destruction sword intent, which was a bit ridiculous. From the ancient times until now, no one had ever possessed 2 sword intents. It was not because of lack of opportunities, but because no one could possess 2 sword intents at the same time. That would cause the soul to collapse directly, and the soul would be destroyed by the backlash of one's own sword intent. A prodigy of the sword Dao. If he could enter the life and death realm, he might be able to become the #1 sword artist throughout the ages, suppressing the ancient sword king. In the ancient era, the sword king couldn't become a monarch not because he wasn't strong enough, but because there could only be one monarch. After the ancient era, this rule was gradually abolished, allowing multiple monarchs to exist at the same time. Of course, it had to be said that a monarch from the same era as the ancient sword king was truly powerful. He was actually able to suppress the sword king and become a monarch. Miss Murong, what do you think of this battle? Wang Tong had, after all, received payment from the two, and he was very interested in the patterns on the map. Therefore, he was very concerned about Yi Chen's life and death. Murong Qingqing pondered for a moment and said, half and half. Half and half. Wang Tong was somewhat astonished and reminded, Ghost Moon is the supreme elder of Soul Sunder sect, so he must have cultivated a profound martial skill. Even if he hasn't comprehended it to 100%, it's still not something ordinary martial skills can compare to. Murong Qingqing nodded, that's why I said half and half. If Ghost Moon didn't cultivate a profound martial skill, he wouldn't even have half. What? Wang Tong found it hard to understand Murong Qingqing's words. With my understanding of him, there's no way he wouldn't have made preparations. He would have certainly guessed that Ghost Moon had comprehended a profound martial skill. Murong Qingqing said slowly. At this moment, Duan Lingyun was a bit anxious. He originally thought that Ghost Moon would be able to kill Yi Chen as easily as blowing off dust. Who would have thought that the development of the situation wasn't under their control? Yi Chen's strength was absolutely terrifying among geniuses, enough to contend against the legendary Thunder Princess. Before the auction, his cultivation base was late astral reaching realm, and now he's at the peak. If I had known earlier, I would have dealt with him in Three Yin City, even if I had to bear the wrath of Three Yin City's city lord. Seeing Yi Chen's progress, Duan Lingyun was extremely regretful. He didn't make a move in Three Yin City because, although Three Yin City didn't forbid fighting, it was under the premise that it wouldn't cause too much damage. Yi Chen wasn't a persimmon in their hands. If they wanted to kill him, the aftermath of the battle could destroy dozens of streets, and perhaps even more. Chapter 423. The three-colored light cover was not broken yet, but the cutting power of the Sky Thunder cut had forced Ghost Moon to back out continuously, leaving behind a three-colored mark in the air. Damn it! Een curse! Area kill! His face turned green and red as he took the opportunity to increase the distance between them. He formed a spell with one hand and performed his profound sense martial art Een curse continuously, shooting out light marks one after another. Immortal Guide. Yi Chen performed his sword steps, his body traveling between the gaps of the Een curse. That sharp sword chi formed automatically, following Yi Chen's sword aura as it attacked toward Ghost Moon. Although Ghost Moon's battling power was at the same level as Yi Chen, he was still weaker than Yi Chen in terms of battling techniques. In fact, if it were another Sea of Souls realm warrior, they might not be able to beat Yi Chen in terms of battling techniques. The sword steps that Yi Chen had learned from the three great sword arts were extremely mysterious. He used his own body as a sword and performed sword arts with his body, which was something that had never been seen before. If the sword steps were forcibly divided into ranks, it would definitely be beyond the top-rank Earth Realm step arts, which were equivalent to 50% of the profound sense step arts. Shoo! 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 Taking one step to the east and one to the west, Yi Chen's step arts were just like his sword arts. They were unrestrained and unstoppable, forcing Ghost Moon to back out continuously with cold sweat dripping down his forehead. No, this brat's step arts are unimaginable. If I continue to fight like this, I will lose all of my face. Ghost Moon's mind was still intact. He knew that no matter what, he would definitely lose his face today. But, there were different degrees of it. If he continued to fight, it would only make him lose more face. Therefore, no matter how angry he was, he had to leave first. With that thought in mind, Ghost Moon pushed his Jin Yuan and jumped out, appearing dozens of miles away. Brat, I will spare your life today. When we meet again in the future, I will make sure your blood splashes everywhere. After throwing down those words, Ghost Moon used his Jin Yuan and dragged Duan Lingyun away. After dozens of blinks, they disappeared without a trace. Who? Waiting until Ghost Moon left, Yi Chen let out a long breath. It was his first time battling against a Sea of Souls realm warrior, so it would be a lie to say that he was not nervous. But of course, he was more excited than anything else. It was the kind of excitement of being able to use all of his power and surpass his own limits. For him, normal extreme astral reaching realm warriors and unbeatable warriors would not be able to interest him at all. I've learned a lot from this fight, and I've gained a clear understanding of my own strength. Ghost Moon was an early Sea of Souls realm warrior. His top-rank Earth realm martial arts had not been trained to completion, but he had two top-rank great weapons, one for offense and one for defense. His profound sense martial art had been trained to 30%. All in all, he was more or less a mid-level warrior. He was not too powerful, but not too weak either. In the future, if he ran into an enemy Sea of Souls realm warrior, he would be able to compete with Ghost Moon. Then, he would know who was stronger and who was weaker. Mr. Yi, you have indeed opened my eyes. This is my first time seeing an astral-reaching realm warrior being able to fight evenly with a Sea of Souls realm warrior. I think you might even be able to suppress him. Wang Tong's face had regained some color as he waved his robe and flew over. Putting his sword back into its scabbard, Yi Chen said, "It was just luck. If it were other Sea of Souls realm warriors, it would be impressive if I could stay undefeated." Wang Tong laughed, "Mr. Yi, you are being too humble. Not to mention the others, there are only a few martial geniuses who could compete with Sea of Souls realm warriors in the whole South region. In other words, Mr. Yi is at least one of the top 10 martial geniuses in the whole region." Yeah, Mr. Wang is right. Speaking of which, it is all thanks to Yi Chen that the competitive atmosphere in our South Rudra region has been brought up. Murong Qingqing nodded to show her agreement. Yi Chen touched his nose and said to Murong Qingqing, "Murong, I am afraid you have not used your real power even once, right?" When he was battling with Ghost Moon, even Duan Lingyun could not handle the aftermath of the Sky Thunder Cut and the Yin spell, but Murong Qingqing seemed to be fine. Combined with Murong Qingqing's mysterious and calm demeanor, Yi Chen had a feeling that she was hiding a deeper level of power. Perhaps. Murong Qingqing knew that she could not hide it from Yi Chen completely, so she did not say anything definite. After the storm had settled down, the three continued on their journey. Rising Sun Mountain, right then, there were a lot of people who were here to explore the secret. When the auction had just ended, there were a lot of people who knew about the Undying Body map. A lot of them were willing to pay a high price for a copy of the map, since it was not that hard to copy a map. Therefore, the 300 maps had turned into more than 1,000, and it was still growing. As for the people who were here to explore the secret, there were more than 1,000 of them. With Wang Tong leading the way, Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing soon found the mountain where the rank 11 Beast King Blue Light Chicken used to stay. The mountain had been burnt and crystallized. Even after countless years, it had not completely decayed. The Blue Light Chicken was a rank 11 Beast King. Although its martial will had disappeared, the mountain that had been refined by the Beast Yuan was extremely sturdy. The 11th pattern, within half a month, the three had found 11 wall paintings, and soon arrived at the 12th destination, Golden Desert. There are a lot of people here. Yi Chen raised his head and saw about 40 to 50 people. Among them, a dozen were Sea of Soul realm experts, and one was wearing a black robe. Yi Chen could feel an extremely frightening aura from his body. It was the aura of a Sea of Soul realm master. This was not the first time Yi Chen had seen this person. Back when he hadn't arrived at Three Yin City, he, Murong Qingqing, and Duan Lingyun had seen this person rushing out from the plains. The black-robed man glanced around and revealed a faint smile. Seems like auctioning the map was definitely a wise move. In just half a month, so many people have found the 12th pattern. If I give them some more time, they might be able to find the place I haven't found yet. The black-robed man was precisely Yin Demon Ancestor. From the 10th pattern onwards, he had been observing everyone. Being able to find the 10th and the following patterns was enough to prove that they had a deep foundation in historical research. Rumble. Right at this moment, the surface of the desert trembled. A lot of sand soared into the sky, covering the sky and sunlight. It was an extremely frightening scene. Ah! Miserable screams resounded as three astral-reaching experts were swallowed by something, disappearing into the desert without a trace. Panic spread. Apart from Sea of Soul realm experts, everyone was nervous. Rumble. Another wave of sand shot up, and a huge mouth appeared under the ground. Inside the mouth were sharp teeth that looked like a blender, layered on top of each other, connected to the soft meat wall. Above this huge mouth was indeed Yi Chen, Murong Qingqing, and the other two. Great Demon Capture. Murong Qingqing didn't wait for Yi Chen to make a move. She made a circle with both of her hands, and an invisible force field interweaved, forcibly pulling out the owner of the huge mouth. During the process, Wang Tong couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. This thing was too big. Its body was more than 2,000 meters long, and the thickest part was 300 meters, while the thinnest part was still more than 100 meters. It was a super sandworm, one that could swallow an entire street. The sandworm struggled with all its might, wanting to break free from Murong Qingqing's grasp. However, Murong Qingqing was not an ordinary astral reaching expert. With a twist of her right hand, half of the worm's body was twisted in the air. Green juices splashed everywhere, dyeing the surface of the desert. It was unknown if it was a coincidence, but after the appearance of the worm, the sky began to brighten. A ray of sunlight sprinkled down, and in the void in front of everyone, the silhouette of a broken building appeared out of nowhere. Those who entered in the past rarely left alive. They all died mysteriously. You guys be careful. Yichen quietly released his soul power, reminding Murong Qingqing and Wang Tong. Murong Qingqing looked behind her and said, "It looks like we can't get out." Wang Tong explained, "The Sun Divine Hall appears once a month for 3 days. Within these 3 days, you can only enter and not leave. Only on the dawn of the 4th day will you have a quarter of an hour to leave. If you can't leave, you have to wait until next month. Since we're already here, let's take things as they come." Yichen didn't say anything else. He had a feeling that things wouldn't be peaceful for the next 3 days. There were a lot of buildings in the Sun God Temple, but some of the smaller ones probably wouldn't have murals. Only the more important ones would have the possibility. Just as the three were about to enter a slightly more majestic building, a scream was suddenly heard from one of the buildings nearby. It seemed like something horrifying had happened. Before that, there were 3 or 4 astral-reaching realm warriors who had entered. Wang Tong said with a low voice, "According to the rumors, there are blood-sucking monsters in the Sun God Temple. They are unkillable, and only under the sun would they not be attacked." Blood-sucking monsters? Unkillable? Afraid of the sun? Yichen frowned. "Mr. Wang, you stay outside. I will go in with Murong." Murong Qingqing nodded. "Yichen is right. Mr. Wang, you stay. Then you guys be careful." Mr. Wang knew himself well. He knew that his power would not be of much use, and might even drag them down. Entering the building, Yichen immediately sensed a wave of cold power. It was completely different from the warm aura outside. It was hard to imagine that this was the inside of the Sun God Temple. "There are murals here." Yichen soon found a wall. There were a lot of carvings on it. Because of the restrictive power, his soul power could not sense it too clearly. He would have to walk over and look with his eyes. Pap! Pap! In the cold environment, the two's footsteps seemed to be coming from another world. There is nothing about the map. After observing for a while, Yichen did not find any weird patterns on the wall. It was all stories and stories. Just as the two turned around, a black shadow flew down from above, shining with a sharp cold light. Chin! Yichen did not panic at all. He pulled out his sword with his right hand and threw out 3 sword attacks. The first one brought out a bright spark, the second brought out a stream of blood, and the third stabbed right in the center. Yeah! Not dead yet. After the 3 sword attacks, the black shadow was blown into the air, trying to disappear into the darkness. Sky Demon Capture. Murong Qingqing was already prepared. She reached out with her right hand and pulled back. The black shadow was caught off guard and was pulled down to the ground, making a huge sound. Caw! A sharp roar was heard. The ear-piercing sound wave was everywhere. Even Murong Qingqing and Yichen had to take 3 steps back. Shoo! Seizing the opportunity, the black shadow disappeared. Unkillable blood-sucking monster, interesting. Yichen did not care. He shook off the blood on his long sword and put it back into its scabbard. Murong Qingqing said, "Our Jin Yuan has been suppressed by 90%, leaving us with less than 40% of our battling power. This undying monster is almost at the level of a normal astral-reaching realm warrior." Battling power was a comprehensive power, which included Jin Yuan, martial will, and physical power. For astral-reaching realm warriors, Jin Yuan was the most important, making up about 80% of their battling power. Therefore, the suppression of Jin Yuan would have a huge impact on their battling power. This is a bit tricky. I wonder how many of these undying monsters there are. Yi Chen had just fought with the undying monster once. The latter's battling technique was not that powerful, but its speed was extremely fast. Under such circumstances, most of the astral reaching realm warriors would be in danger. Outside, Wang Tong stood under the sun. Seeing the two come out, he let out a sigh of relief and asked, "How was it inside? Did that thing appear?" Murong Qingqing said, "It ran away." Ran away? Is there really a blood-sucking monster? Wang Tong had never seen one before, so he was hoping to be lucky. Hearing her words, he felt a chill down his spine. Yi Chen said, "Don't worry. You only need to protect yourself. We will take care of the rest." Inside a huge building in front of them, undying monster. "Let's see how many times you can take damage." The one who was talking to himself was a middle-aged man with a cold face. If there were experienced people here, they would be able to tell that he was the famous Ironwood man in the Extreme place. His power was one level higher than the spirit warriors. Although his Jin Yuan had been suppressed a lot, after reaching the Sea of Souls realm, his body was no longer a normal body anymore. It was extremely tough, and only his physical power was horrifying. Combined with his martial will and remaining Jin Yuan, he was able to compete with extreme astral reaching realm warriors. Under his feet was a human-shaped monster. It had long legs and arms, long fangs in its mouth, and extremely sharp claws. Its skin was white and purple, looking very thick. Instead of calling it skin, it was more like a layer of cuticle. It was very muscular, where it should be skinny, but where it should be strong, it was surprisingly strong. Overall, it was a kind of monster that did not care about appearance, but focused on killing. Swoosh! Holding the dark blue iron stick in his hand, Ironwood Man stomped on the human-shaped monster's chest, creating a bloody hole there. The human-shaped monster screamed and stared at Ironwood Man crazily, showing its fangs, looking extremely horrifying. Ironwood Man frowned. His opponent's voice contained a sharp sound wave, and its super-high vibration frequency made his heart feel like exploding. He opened his mouth and waved his arm. The iron stick pierced through the human-shaped monster's throat. All of a sudden, the scream stopped, as if a duck had been choked by its neck. Still not dead? The chest had been pierced through, and the throat and spine had been broken. If it were a normal Sea of Souls realm warrior, they would have been dead by now. However, judging from the struggling power of the human-shaped monster, it was still full of energy, as if the wound it had just received was just a superficial wound. Let's see if you will die or not. The dark blue iron stick shone with a dark blue light as Ironwood Man used all of his power to attack the human-shaped monster's forehead. Boom! White and red blasted out, looking extremely bloody. The humanoid monster's body twitched a couple of times after being hit in the head, then it stopped moving. I thought it was an undying body. So disappointing. Throwing down the monster's body, Ironwood Man turned around and walked out of the building. The number of buildings in the Sun Palace was unimaginable. Even though they had only been looking at the big buildings to find something useful, it still took them a whole day to reach the main palace. As the sun set, the horrifying atmosphere started to cover everyone's heart. It is getting dark. Should we enter the main palace? Of course. The earlier we find the painting, the earlier we can relax. Then, we will only need to stay inside a small building, and we will be able to get through the rest of the 2 days safely. Indeed. There is no difference between going in during the day or at night, since the sunlight will not be able to shine in there anyway. On the plaza in front of the main palace, the surviving people were in groups of 3 to 5, and groups of 5 to 6. Only one Sea of Souls realm warrior who was still alive did not want to form a group, so he was alone. During this time, people would enter the Sun Palace from time to join the exploration team, which kept the number of people between 50 to 100. Let's go in. Yi Chen looked at Murong Qingqing and Wang Tong. Murong Qingqing looked back from the darkness in the main palace and nodded. As for Wang Tong, he was holding a shield in one hand and a great blade in the other. As they were talking, a bright moon appeared in the night sky, and a shrill roar was heard. Following the direction of the sound, Ironwood Man frowned. He realized that it was the building where he had killed the undying monster. Perhaps, the undying monster is still alive? Chapter 425. There are undead monsters here as well. I can't hold on any longer. Damn! These monsters are unkillable. They are born to be invincible. Let's join hands. Indeed. Only by joining hands can we survive. Originally, there were more than 100 astral-reaching realm warriors in the main palace, and there were only 7 or 8 of them at most. However, under the attacks of the undying beasts, they gradually gathered together, forming a well-organized team with a clear division of labor. Once the team was formed, the success rate of the undead monsters' attacks dropped drastically. Under hundreds of mental power scans, there would always be a few people who would discover the undead monsters' attacks. In the deeper part of the main palace, Yi Chen and the other 2 were fighting as they walked. Shoo! Without stopping, Yi Chen waved his sword, and with every step he took, an undead monster's throat would be cut open. Dark red blood spilled everywhere. Murong Qingqing's Sky Demon Great Art was undoubtedly the nemesis of the undead monsters. Within the range of the Sky Demon power field, not a single undead monster could get close to her. They would all be discovered immediately, and their bodies would be twisted by the power field and blown away. It seems like I only need to protect myself. Wang Tong thought that something dangerous was waiting for him, but he realized that he was extremely safe between the 2. In front of him, there was Yi Chen with his horrifying sword art, and behind him, there was Murong Qingqing cleaning up the undead monsters. The only thing he could do was to be extra careful. Caw! All of a sudden, a lot of undead monsters roared, and the sound wave attacked from all directions. At the same time, 7 or 8 undead monsters attacked the 3 from different angles. Activate your Jin Yuan to protect your heart and head. Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing had fought against the undead monsters before, so they knew how powerful the sound wave was. They hurried to remind Wang Tong, who did not know what was going on. Hearing him, Wang Tong bit his tongue and did as Yi Chen said. Fast 4 sword strikes. Switching the thunder sword to the destruction sword, Yi Chen shook his wrist, and the sword light jumped out. The 4 undead monsters closest to him were blown away. One had its arm cut off, the second had its waist cut off, the third had half of its head cut off, and the fourth had its heart pierced through. Sky Devil's Palm, Heavenly Rebuke. Behind them, Murong Qingqing's left and right hands struck out like butterflies flying through flowers. The 3 undead monsters seemed to be repelled by this space. They came and went quickly, bouncing back like lightning. A large amount of internal organs spurted out from their mouths. It was extremely bloody. Yi Chen glanced at Murong Qingqing, silently praising her for becoming more skillful. According to the characteristics of the Great Sky Demon technique, as long as she could continue to improve, she would be able to completely subdue anyone who was as strong as her. When gravity and repulsion were developed to the profound level, it would be extremely terrifying. The 3 were moving at a very fast speed, but no matter how fast they would not be able to outrun some of the more powerful Sea of Souls realm warriors. Wherever they went, the undead beasts that were rushing at them would be blown away immediately. They would not even be able to get close to them. Of course, there were some Sea of Souls realm warriors who were slower than Yi Chen and the other 2, since they were all Soul realm warriors who were not as powerful as Ghost Moon. Bang! An undying monster exploded, and the black-robed demon ancestor walked to the wall. He revealed a faint smile and intentionally raised his voice. There's a map here. What? Where is it? Hearing him, the people behind him were shocked. Isn't this the demon ancestor? Ironwood Man, who was not too far away from the demon ancestor, was a bit surprised. There were a lot of people who knew about the demon ancestor in the extreme place, but not many had seen him before. He came and went like a ghost, and his power was as deep as the ocean. Even among the master-level warriors, he would be above average. Before, the demon ancestor was covered in a black robe, so he did not recognize him. Hee hee. The Een demon ancestor laughed weirdly as he flew out of the main palace. He thought that the Een demon ancestor was going to kill him to keep his mouth shut. Outside, he might have a 10% chance of escaping. But, inside the Sun Palace, his Jinyuan had been mostly suppressed, and there were not many ways for him to escape. If the Een demon ancestor wanted to kill him, it would not take him much effort. The Een demon ancestor does not care that I know the pattern on the map. There must be a reason. Never mind, Ironwood Man, will not kill anyone, just in case. Originally, Ironwood Man was planning to kill him to keep his mouth shut, since the fewer people who knew about his undying body, the better. But now, he had changed his mind. So what if he killed those astral-reaching realm warriors? His opponents would be Sea of Souls realm warriors, especially master-level ones who were more powerful than him. Astral-reaching realm warriors might not be able to threaten them, but they would be able to mess up the situation. You guys are lucky. After memorizing the pattern on the wall, Ironwood Man flew out of the main palace without looking back. Mr. Yi, will they kill us to keep our mouth shut? Wang Tong suddenly thought of something serious, so he asked with a Jinyuan message. Yi Chen said lightly, no, and we do not have to be afraid. Outside, perhaps he would be afraid of Sea of Souls realm warriors. Even if they had the undead body. Boom! The first exchange of attacks ended in a tie. Rock attack. The rock spirit warrior seized the opportunity and flashed his body, appearing in front of the undead creature. His fist, which was filled with the profound of earth, landed on the chest of the undead creature, making it cave in. Crack! The undead creature rolled back in the air, letting out a shrill scream. Hee hee. Die! A golden long spear condensed from Jin Yuan appeared in the Yuan Gold Spirit Warrior's hand. He waved his arm and the long spear was thrown out, instantly piercing through the head of the undead creature. Right then, a beam of moonlight landed on the undead creature's body. Visible to the naked eye, the wound on the undead creature started to close up and recover. Seeing this, the two frowned. In the dark night, these creatures seemed to be almost unkillable. This undead creature could tell that the Yuan Gold Spirit Warrior and the Rock Spirit Warrior were not easy to deal with, so it did not plan to attack again. In fact, if it were not for the fact that it had not sucked enough blood, its power would definitely be more powerful than the two combined. After all, in the Sun Palace, even Sea of Souls realm warriors would be suppressed, and their power would be greatly reduced. On the other hand, they were like fish in the water, having the best advantage. The only downside was that before becoming an undead creature, all the blood in its body had been sucked dry. After becoming an undead creature, its power would be extremely weak. Therefore, it instinctively wanted to suck the blood of Sea of Souls realm warriors, since only their blood could make its power increase rapidly. Its emotionless eyes turned as it noticed Yi Chen and the other two not far away. From Yi Chen and Murong Qingcheng, it could sense a powerful qi and blood, especially Murong Qingcheng. Her qi and blood were extremely powerful, which was completely different from a human's. It did not know whether she was a human or not, but all it needed was a powerful blood. Shoo! His body disappeared as the undead creature jumped toward the three. Seeing that, the Yuan Gold Spirit Warrior laughed, those two little brats and that old guy are going to have bad luck. The Rock Spirit Warrior snorted, greed is a sin. Coming here without enough power, it would not be a pity if they died. The two did not think that Yi Chen and the other two would be able to leave the Sun Palace alive, so they just watched from the side. This undead creature seems to be a lot more powerful. Yi Chen noticed that this undead creature was different from before. He squinted his eyes and the destruction sword in his hand shone with a bright light. Within a second, he had thrown out 49 sword attacks, which contained the slaughter sword intent. Shoo! 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 The sword net was everywhere, and the undead creature was blown backward with blood all over its body. Moreover, even with the moonlight healing its body, its recovery speed was still very slow. Only Yi Chen knew what was going on, since the slaughter sword intent was not something to be trifled with. The slaughter chi on it had reduced its recovery speed. If the slaughter sword intent was powerful enough, then even the undead body would be useless. As long as the slaughter chi did not dissipate, it would never be able to recover. This was the power of the attributed sword intent. Chapter 426. What? He repelled the undying monster. The smile on Yuan Gold's face froze, and his face was filled with disbelief. Rock Spirit Warrior retracted his disdain and said, "An extremely powerful sword intent. It's at least at the Spirit Master level. No wonder he could repel it in one move." Sword intent at the Spirit Master level? Yuan Gold was astonished. There were 3 levels in the Sea of Soul realm: Spirit Master level, and Master level. Didn't that mean that the latter's sword intent had already surpassed the Spirit Master level? How did he train? It was simply unimaginable. Force field cut. Morong Qingqing's reaction was not slow either. She clasped her hands together, and the 2 opposite forces merged together, turning into an unstoppable cutting force field, which struck the undying monster's chest. Pang! The undying monster crashed into the wall of the building, and was bounced back by the restrictive power. Its chest was badly mutilated, and its stomach was almost cut open. Ga! The undying monster faced the sky and roared. It had thought that the 2 were soft persimmons, but who would have thought that they would be even more difficult to deal with? Especially that young sword artist in blue, who had dealt it a heavy blow without batting an eyelid. Not only was the wound unable to heal quickly, it had even lost a lot of yuan qi. Shoo! With a flicker, the undying monster left the area, unwilling to provoke Yi Chen. Oh, interesting. He can actually comprehend an attributed sword intent at the astral reaching realm. This is something that even Sea of Soul realm sword artists would have a hard time doing. Demon Ancestor was more observant than Rock Spirit Warrior. He himself knew a master-level sword artist, who could be called a master-level sword artist precisely because he had comprehended an attributed sword intent. Not far away, Ironwood began to pay attention to Yi Chen, thinking to himself, "This kid is not simple. In terms of perception alone, I'm afraid he can be ranked in the top 5 among the geniuses of the southern sector. So powerful. Let's go over." Yi Chen's strength made a lot of astral reaching experts intentionally draw close to him. They understood that Yi Chen and Morong Qingqing might not lend a hand, but with the 2 present, the powerful undying monsters would be restrained, and their chances of survival would be greater. Regarding this, Yi Chen did not mind. Regardless of whether the other party came over or not, it would not affect him. Since it would not affect him, why would he cruelly chase them away? It was always good to leave some hope for others. Of course, this was if there was no effect. If there was an effect, Yi Chen was not a good person. He hated things that harmed others. Seeing that Yi Chen and the other 2 didn't do anything, everyone felt even more relieved as they approached. As for the other Sea of Soul realm experts, it was not that they hadn't considered them. Unfortunately, these people were not amicable. If they had a good temper, they would keep their distance. If they had a bad temper, they would berate them harshly, and there was even the possibility of them killing them. The first night passed. Before dawn, the ferocious undead monsters rushed into the buildings and hid in the darkness, waiting for the night to come again. After temporarily escaping from the danger of death, everyone started to study what the 13th pattern represented. Wang Tong pondered and said, "The 13th and 14th patterns are very abstract, I can't tell what kind of patterns they are. If I really want to say, there are at least hundreds or thousands of places in the land of extreme negative energy that fit the pattern. Obviously, this is impossible, so I need to categorize these possible places and find something special and different. Give me some time." "No problem." Yi Chen nodded. It was impossible to find the location represented by the pattern, otherwise, the owner of the map would not have taken it out for auction. Yi Chen did not have to think to know that before the auction, the original owner must have spent a lot of time and effort to study the map, and only made this decision when he found nothing. Yi Chen did not want to know what the original owner was thinking when he auctioned the map. All he could do was try his best. If there was no other way, then he would give up. At the dawn of the fourth day, a distorted and fuzzy tunnel appeared in front of the Sun God Palace. Following this tunnel, all the survivors flew out. After leaving the Golden Desert, Yi Chen and the other two stayed in the nearest Molan city. Huh. I got it. The 13th pattern is not a pattern, but an ancient character. An ancient character that disappeared in the long river of history. If you try to analyze it from the pattern, you won't know where it is in your lifetime. On the second floor of the restaurant, Wang Tong excitedly rushed into Yi Chen's room. Murong Qingqing heard the news and hurried over, asking, "What character?" Tu Shui River. Tu Shui River. How come I've never heard of it? Wang Tong explained, thousands of years ago, the Tsushui River existed, but for some reason, the Tsushui River gradually dried up, leaving only an underground river hidden underground. As long as we find the underground river, we can know the exact location of the Tsushui River. Wang Tong was not the only one who had analyzed the 13th pattern. Until now, there were already more than 1,000 people who had joined the search for the map of the undying body. Among these people, there were quite a few who were proficient in the history of extreme inland. Perhaps, there were a lot of people who knew some ancient characters, but there would always be some. Of course, it did not mean that these people were stronger than Yin Demon Ancestor. After all, everyone had their own blind spots. Several dozen people are heading in the same direction. Could it be that they have analyzed the 13th pattern? In Molan City, Yin Demon Ancestor sensed something, and his eyes brightened. No one knew that the 300 copies of the map had been tampered with by him. They were branded with his soul imprint. These imprints were not common to ordinary Sea of Soul realm experts. They were more ancient and profound, something he had learned by chance. Unless one was a life and death king, no one would be able to detect the mysteries of the map. All of your efforts are for my benefit. Only I, Yin Demon Ancestor, have obtained the secret of the undying body. A confident smile appeared on Yin Demon Ancestor's face. The process of searching for the Shushui River was very smooth. The three of them first found the location of the underground river. Then, according to the pattern of the underground river, they found the specific location of the Shushui River and dug out a stone tablet from the soil. The stone tablet was also engraved with 3 patterns, which were the ancient character pattern representing the Shushui River, the 14th pattern, and the 15th altar pattern. It seems like finding the Takui River is useless. There is no information left on it. If the 14th pattern is the same, we can directly study the 15th altar pattern. Wang Tong originally wanted to find traces of the 15th pattern from the 13th and 14th patterns. However, he was disappointed. They had already seen the 3 patterns on the stele. Apart from that, there was nothing else. Since we've already come this far, we still have to go to the 14th location. Yi Chen expressed his opinion. Murong Qingqing nodded. Regarding the altar pattern, we still don't have any clues. Instead of burying ourselves in deep thought, we might as well spend some time looking for the location of the 14th pattern. I believe that the 14th location should have some special benefits. Someone is coming. Yi Chen raised his head and looked into the distance. Wang Tong said, "Should we destroy the stele?" He didn't have any illusions about the secret of the undying body. In other words, he didn't have the strength to fight for the undying body. Therefore, he hoped that Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing could obtain the secret of the undying body. Yi Chen shook his head. If we destroy the stele, we will become the target of public criticism. It doesn't matter if they know. There are no secrets on the stele anyway. The instant the 3 of them left, 3 to 4 figures appeared near the stone tablet. Soon after, even more people rushed over, including the black-robed Yin Demon Ancestor. The 3rd pattern on the stele is also the altar pattern. It seems that the altar pattern is the 15th pattern, which is also the destination of the map. Yin Demon Ancestor's mood was surging. The day of him obtaining the secret of the undying body was getting closer and closer. He suddenly felt a little regret. If he had contributed the map earlier, perhaps he would have obtained the undying body several decades ago. No matter what, only I can possess the undying body. If humans block me, I will kill them. If demons block me, I will kill them. The location of the 14th pattern. As expected, there are also no discoveries here. There are only 2 patterns. One had to admit that Wang Tong was an outstanding historian. In half a month, he had already analyzed the 14th pattern and found the location. Unfortunately, just like the Great River, there was still nothing worth studying here. The only meaning was that he had found it. No, don't you feel that this mountain is like an arrowhead? Yi Chen said. Arrowhead? Hearing this, Murong Qingqing released her mental energy, spreading it in all directions. Soon, she discovered that the mountain was different from the rest. Looking from the sky, this small mountain looked very similar to a huge arrowhead. She was very impressed that Yi Chen could notice this. Could it be that the arrowhead is pointing to the altar? Wang Tong's mental energy wasn't as strong as Murong Qingqing's. His figure flashed, flying high into the sky and looking down. Yi Chen asked, "Is there anything special about the arrowhead?" Wang Tong said, "The arrowhead is pointing to the west. There are many ancient ruins in this straight line. Could it be the Stoneman Array?" The Stoneman Array was a famous ancient ruin in the land of Extreme Yin. There were no treasures inside, but many experts liked to go there to comprehend. They all believed that the Stoneman Array contained an indescribable power that allowed them to comprehend things that were normally hard to detect. Several hundred li behind the 3, Yin demon ancestor was following closely behind. The 13th pattern was first discovered by Yi Chen's group, and the 14th pattern was also discovered by them. There was no reason for Yin demon ancestor not to follow them. I've been waiting for this moment. The heavens didn't disappoint my Yin demon ancestor. In the distance, the 3 saw the Stoneman Array. The Stoneman Array was composed of numerous stone statues. The smallest one was dozens of meters tall, while the tallest one was over 100 meters tall. These stone statues had different postures. Some were contemplating, some were gazing at the starry sky, some were meditating, some were waving their swords, and some were breathing. Not a single statue appeared superficial. There are many people here. Murong Qingqing's beautiful eyes roamed about. In her line of sight, there were many experts sitting cross-legged before the stone statues, quietly comprehending. Among them were a few Sea of Soul Realm experts. The Yin demon ancestor was holding a hexagram gem in his hand. The gem was sparkling and translucent, without any impurities. Resplendent rays of light seeped out of it like strands of silk. Near the Yin demon ancestor was a hexagonal altar. Each corner of the altar had a stone pillar, and at the center of the altar was a groove. The groove's size and shape were no different from the hexagram gem. This gem was obtained together with the undying body map. Originally, Yin demon ancestor did not know the usage of this gem. After reaching the Stoneman Array for a while, he unintentionally took out the hexagram gem and vaguely discovered that there was a subtle connection between the gem and the altar. Relying on this indistinct connection, Yin demon ancestor finally found the altar 10,000 meters below the Stoneman Array. His eyes landed on the edge of the altar. There were 4 ancient words written on it: Undying Altar. Undying Altar. It must be related to the undying body. That's right, this is it. Yin Demon Master was so excited that his whole body was trembling. As a Sea of Soul Realm Master, there were too few things that could excite him. Creating a new profound sense martial art was one of them, but the undying body was even more important. With a nervous heart, Yin Demon Ancestor carefully placed the hexagram gem into the groove at the center of the altar. Crack! A brilliant light surged out of the groove, locking the hexagram gem in place. Soon after, the 6 stone pillars at the corner burst out with a dazzling light. The light condensed into a beam and shot up at an unimaginable speed. The thick soil couldn't even obstruct it. Not good. Yin Demon Ancestor's face turned pale with fright. He originally wanted to obtain the secret of the undying body in secret. However, if the beam shot out of the ground, it would definitely be discovered by others. With the earth as the sky, stop for me. Demon Ancestor roared. Vigorous ocean-like Jin Yuan surged within his body. His right hand seemed slow but was fast in reality. With a flip of his wrist, he pressed down with his palm. This palm strike caused the universe to reverse. Layers upon layers of profound mysteries appeared, as if the heavens were collapsing and the heavens were descending. It was as if the undying altar was trying to suppress the beam. Kacha! The lid-like Jin Yuan sky was torn apart, but the beam's speed didn't decrease. In the blink of an eye, it shot out of the ground and into the clouds, connecting heaven and earth. What's happening? Why are there 6 beams of light shooting out of the stoneman array? There must be something strange. Perhaps a treasure has appeared. The people in the stoneman array woke up one after another and rushed toward the direction of the beam. Let's go as well. Yi Chen shot a glance at the seemingly solid beam of light. His figure flickered as he passed through the densely packed statues. Deep underground, Demon Ancestor's expression changed several times. In the end, he had no choice but to accept this fact. His expression suddenly turned sinister as he inwardly said, "Whoever dares to stop me, don't blame me for a massacre. Only I, Demon Ancestor, am worthy of the undying body." Rumble. Abruptly, with the 6 beams of light as their trajectory, the undying altar rapidly rose up like an elevator, breaking out of the ground and floating in the air. It's an altar. Murong Qingqing blurted out. Yi Chen said suspiciously, "There's someone down there." With a bang, the ground not far away split open, and the black-robed Demon Ancestor appeared before everyone's eyes. His master-level aura erupted without any concealment. "Irrelevant people, get lost. Otherwise, don't blame me for being merciless." Demon Ancestor threatened everyone the moment he appeared. Demon Ancestor, you're too overbearing. As the saying goes, everyone who sees a treasure has a share. You don't have the qualifications to chase us all away. The one who spoke was Daoist Black Snake, who had participated in the 3 City auction. Daoist Black Snake, do you want to become a dead snake? Demon Ancestor waved his arm, and a grayish-black chi violently revolved, turning into a sawtooth blade that shot towards Daoist Black Snake. Sky Snake Transformation. Daoist Black Snake didn't expect Demon Ancestor to make a move just like that. After all, although his strength was inferior to a master-level expert, he was still a Daoist-level expert. Dealing with him wouldn't be a matter of 2 or 3 moves. From the looks of it, this altar was very likely to be the key to obtaining the undying body. As he thought of this, his heart turned fiery. He used his self-created profound martial skill and faced the sawtooth blade. Dong! The space fluctuated violently. Within several li, the weaker astral-reaching experts were all sent flying, unable to even approach. Careful! Yi Chen operated his Jin Yuan and protected Wang Tong. At this moment, Wang Tong suddenly said, "Young Master Yi, Miss Murong, the altar has already appeared. The rest is up to you. I wish you all the best." After saying these words, he lightly tapped the ground and floated backwards. In a few blinks of an eye, he disappeared from Yi Chen's line of sight. Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing exchanged a glance and lightly nodded. Daoist Black Snake was, in the end, much weaker than Demon Ancestor. His complexion was pale as he was blasted away, suffering some light injuries. Demon Ancestor looked around and coldly snorted, "I'll say it one more time. All of you get lost. I, Demon Ancestor, will not advise you a second time." Hearing these words, everyone turned silent. A sea of Soul Master's strength was too powerful. Even 3 to 5 Daoist-level experts might not be his opponent. Moreover, Demon Ancestor was a first-rate expert even among master-level experts. His strength was not below that of a famous Sea of Soul Master. If he were to be angered, it would be hard to say whether he wouldn't fall. However, they were truly unwilling to give up like this, especially for the Sea of Soul Realm experts who had participated in the 3 City auction. Daoist Black Snake, Old Man Sky Eagle, I think you two aren't willing to let Demon Ancestor have his way. How about we join hands? Daoist Ironwood sent a Jin Yuan transmission to Daoist Black Snake and Old Man Sky Eagle, then secretly contacted Rock Spirit Warrior, Yuan Gold Spirit Warrior, and 3 Spirit Warrior. Daoist Black Snake shot a glance at Daoist Ironwood. Alright, we'll stand together. Whoever dares to make me cannon fodder, I'll make him die without a burial ground. Hee, now is not the time. You don't need to worry about this. Shwa 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 shwa, almost at the same time, 7 or 8 Sea of Soul Realm experts led by Daoist Black Snake, Daoist Ironwood, and Old Man Sky Eagle walked out and faced Demon Ancestor. Old Man Sky Eagle sinisterly said, Demon Ancestor, your strength is indeed higher than ours, but you can't let us leave for nothing. If my guess is correct, the map was taken out by you. In that case, don't blame us for interfering. Daoist Ironwood cautiously looked at Demon Ancestor. Demon Ancestor laughed in extreme anger. Good. You think you can deal with me by joining hands? Seems like I, Demon Ancestor, haven't made a move for a long time. You don't put me in your eyes anymore. Both sides were ready to jump at each other's throats. Many astral reaching experts saw that the situation wasn't right and retreated from the Stoneman Array. The aftermath of a battle between Sea of Soul Realm experts could easily kill them. Why the need to make such a big fuss? How about we all sit down and have a good talk? There's no need to harm our friendship. The Sea of Soul Realm experts who were comprehending the Stoneman Array couldn't sit still. Although they didn't know what the altar represented, judging from the attitude of Demon Ancestor and Daoist Black Snake, they knew that it wasn't ordinary stuff. If they didn't come out, they would be letting themselves down. 1, 2, 3, 5 Sea of Soul Realm experts walked out. The one who spoke had an aura not below Demon Ancestor's. Clearly, he was a Sea of Soul Realm expert. Apart from him, the other 4 were Daoist and 3 Soul Realm experts respectively. Their formation was even above Daoist Black Snake's. Master Jade River. Demon Ancestor's pupils shrank. This person was just like him, also a Sea of Soul Realm expert. He had a high attainment in the water profound, and couldn't be looked down upon. If it was Daoist Realm experts, he wouldn't care, but Master Realm experts were something he couldn't disregard. Which Master Realm expert hadn't created 2 or 3 profound martial skills? Without going all out in a battle, no one would know who was stronger. Excluding super powerful Master Realm experts, the gap between the majority of people wouldn't seem too big. At this moment, Demon Ancestor was already unable to suppress the situation. Chapter 428. The 6 beams of light on the altar connected heaven and earth like 6 resplendent heavenly pillars, dyeing the altar and its surroundings in a dreamy and illusory manner. The atmosphere in the Stoneman Array under the altar froze. After a long while, Demon Ancestor's expression eased up, and a cold light flickered in his eyes. Master Jade River, why are you joining in the fun? Master Jade River was communicating with Ironwood Daoist via Jin Yuan. After learning that the altar was the key to obtaining the undying body, he was extremely astonished. After the astonishment, he became indescribably excited as he faintly smiled. Demon Ancestor, your words are incorrect. Treasures belong to the fated. Since the altar appeared here, it means that I also have some fate with it. How can you say I'm joining in the fun? Humph. Demon Ancestor coldly snorted. He knew that letting Master Jade River leave was impossible, so he said, Master Jade River, I acknowledge your strength. However, apart from you, the others will have to scram. I think you don't want them to follow. This. Master Jade River was somewhat hesitant as he glanced at Ironwood Daoist and the others. Ironwood Daoist was anxious, he knows more than any of us. Without us restraining him, the secret of the undying body will eventually fall into his hands. You're courting death. Not waiting for Ironwood Daoist to finish, Demon Ancestor was enraged. A gloomy black aura erupted as he slashed at Ironwood Daoist, even including Black Snake Daoist and Old Man Sky Eagle. He wanted to kill them in one strike. Great Jade Spiral. At the crucial moment, Master Jade River formed a seal with both hands and used his prized profound martial skill, creating a whirling current around the three, blocking Demon Ancestor's attack. Master Jade River, what's the meaning of this? Could it be that you want to fight to the death with me? Demon Ancestor gloomily looked at Master Jade River. Master Jade River cleared his throat and said, "They can't be killed. If you want to kill, you should kill those astral reaching experts. What do you think? Not good." Hearing these words, the complexions of the astral reaching experts within the Stoneman array changed. Each and every one of them erupted with Jin Yuan and flew out like bees. As for Yi Chen and Murong Qingcheng, they retreated 100 meters, operating their Jin Yuan to the limit, preparing to retreat at any time. Die. Demon Master didn't think that an astral reaching expert could affect him. However, everything that had happened before had left him with a belly full of anger, and he could vent it out on an astral reaching expert. With the earth as the sky, kill. The Demon Ancestor was proficient in the profound of earth. As he struck out with his palm, the universe reversed. The sky was no longer the sky, and the earth was no longer the earth. Not only did it mess up the direction of the escaping crowd, it also made them lose their sense of balance. They swayed left and right, looking extremely battered. Shortly after, an earthen yellow hand descended from the sky, covering the sun as it ruthlessly slammed down. What a terrifying profound meaning. Yi Chen's pupils shrank to the size of a needle. This palm strike of the Demon Ancestor had already surpassed the scope of techniques, and had completely risen to the level of the profound mysteries of the universe. Within the range of the palm pressure, the heaven and earth shook, and the universe reversed. Within it, one would be like an ant, unable to display even 30% of one's strength. Using 30% of one's strength to resist the full power of the Demon Ancestor was like smashing an egg against a rock. The might of a Sea of Soul Master had thoroughly surpassed Yi Chen's imagination. Just as the astral reaching experts within several li were about to be killed, the undying altar suddenly revolved. 6 light beams interweaved into one, turning into a thick beam that pierced through the sky, piercing through stunning sky, extreme void sky, and then zenith sky. Meanwhile, the Stoneman array beneath the undying altar suddenly caved in, revealing a vertical passage of unknown depth. The passage was 10 li thick, and with the altar as the center, the gray tornado rushed up like a huge funnel. The mouth of the funnel went deep into the passage. Ah! 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 Without any resistance, everyone within 10 li was sucked into the funnel tornado. The astral reaching experts within 10 li also couldn't resist the suction of the tornado. They went fast, but the speed at which they were sucked back was even faster. They were sucked inside, including numerous Stoneman statues. What's going on? As Sea of Soul Masters, Demon Ancestor and Master Jade River naturally wouldn't allow the tornado to do as it pleased. They urged their Jin Yuan with all their might, wanting to break free. However, the tornado's length was unknown, and its powerful suction even swept down the clouds in the sky. The few of them struggled a few times, but were once again sucked in. Inside the passage, nearly 100 people were rapidly descending, creating a scene of chaos. This scene is exactly the same as the pattern of the undying altar. Murong Qingcheng recalled the pattern of the undying altar. Apart from the altar, the flickering light and tornado were also carved on it. Presumably, once the undying altar appeared, the scene above would appear. Yi Chen's forehead swelled, and his soul power fanned out. After a moment, he sucked in a deep breath. This passage's depth is over 100 li. This is troublesome. The underground was an unknown place. Although astral reaching experts could go up into the sky and down into the earth, there was still a limit. The sky couldn't be higher than the stunning sky, and the earth couldn't be lower than 20 or 30,000 meters, which was 40 to 50 li. Beyond this range was a place astral-reaching experts couldn't go. At present, they had already gone dozens of li underground, but they still couldn't find the end. They were afraid that the depth of the passage was at least several hundred li huff. All of a sudden, the suction inside the passage increased sharply, and everyone's falling speed surpassed 5 times the speed of sound. Astral-reaching experts could certainly reach several times the speed of sound when rushing at full speed, but that was under normal circumstances. Right now, things were clearly not normal. They were falling at a crazy speed, and couldn't be controlled at all. Some of the weaker astral-reaching experts almost vomited out their internal organs, suffering heavy injuries from the sudden increase in suction. Almost subconsciously, Yichen grabbed Murong Qingqing's soft little hand. Murong Qingqing was startled for a moment, then clenched her soft hand. 50 li. 70 li. 150 li. 150 li. 250 li. We're dead for sure. We've already gone 200 li underground. Some astral-reaching experts had long faces. If they had known earlier, they wouldn't have joined in the fun. On the other hand, the expressions of Sea of Soul Realm experts like Yin Demon Master and Master Jade River didn't change. A depth of several hundred li was still within their endurance range. Moreover, they firmly believed that this wasn't a disaster, but an opportunity for them. The secret of the undying body must be hidden deep underground. Huff huff, the suction was still increasing, reaching 7 times the speed of sound. Even Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing couldn't adapt to the sudden increase in speed. Their brows gradually creased. The suction is increasing. I'm afraid the true depth is beyond our imagination. Yi Chen tightened his grip on Murong Qingqing's hand and transmitted his Jin Yuan. Murong Qingqing said, "There has always been a rumor that there is another world in the boundless depths of the underground. I wonder if it has any connection with this passage. Since we're already here, let's take things as they come." Yi Chen looked around. Everything was chaotic. Occasionally, he could see 1 or 2 faintly discernible stone statues. In this strange environment, the statues seemed to contain the martial Tao, which was thought-provoking. His mood soon calmed down. 300 li. 500 li. 800 li. 1,000 li. Soon, everyone arrived at the depth of 1,000 li. Even Sea of Soul Realm experts were somewhat frightened here. 1,000 li underground was a place they had never been to before. They hadn't even heard of it. How deep the true spirit continent's underground was. From ancient times until now, no one could say for sure. Is the secret of the undying body really underground? Yin Demon Master's face flickered with a trace of fear. 1,000 li below was more or less a dangerous forbidden zone for him. Normally, forbidden zones underground were basically impossible to enter, and the degree of danger far surpassed the forbidden zones on the surface. Not far away, Master Jade River smiled bitterly. From time to time, he would urge his soul power to probe the depth, but the result made him extremely panicked. He couldn't find anything. As for Daoist Ironwood, Daoist Black Snake, and the other Sea of Soul Realm experts, their faces were all deathly pale. They were prepared to resign themselves to fate. In any case, struggling would be futile. There was no need to think too much. The suction continued to increase, reaching 10 times the speed of sound from 7 times the speed of sound. More than 10 astral-reaching experts vomited blood and died, turning into mindless corpses. Strangely, an illusory shadow floated out of these mindless corpses, fusing with the similarly descending stone statues. The statues seemed even more mysterious. 2,000 li. 3,000 li. 5,000 li. The endless descent made everyone indescribably frightened. What kind of concept was 5,000 li? From the surface to the stunning sky, it was only a few hundred li. 5,000 li was more than 10 times that. Moreover, the underground wasn't air, but earth. Every inch of the earth was several hundred times thicker than air. One could imagine how desperate it was to be buried inside. Fortunately, the suction stopped increasing after reaching 10 times the speed of sound. Otherwise, not more than 50% of the 100 people would have survived. 6,000 li. 7,000 li. 9,000 li. After 9,000 li, the suction finally slowed down, dropping from 10 times the speed of sound to 8 times the speed of sound, then 5 times the speed of sound, and then 3 times the speed of sound. At 9,900 li, Yichen measured the end and said with a deep voice, "If nothing goes wrong, we are about 10,000 li away from the surface." This depth is really despairing. Even though Murong Qingqing was extremely calm, she couldn't help but feel heavy, as if there was a huge rock pressing down on her heart, making it hard for her to breathe. The world below them was not completely dark, but rather a slightly dusky day. In their line of sight, everything was dark green, extending to the horizon. This was a huge rainforest, a rainforest in the underground world, and they had just descended from the gray clouds. Whoosh! 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 Coming out of the clouds, the suction suddenly disappeared. Only the statues, because of their weight, fell one after another into the rainforest, creating huge craters. The shockwave radiated in all directions, startling a large number of strange birds and forest beasts. What's going on? Chapter 429. Being tens of thousands of meters in the sky, once they lost their Jinyuan, it would be the same as losing the ability to fly. Even an iron ball would be smashed into a metal pancake, not to mention a human body. Tie up your clothes. In the face of life and death, some people thought of using their clothes to make a huge umbrella to slow down the speed. The good thing was that with the mental power, they no longer needed to pour in their Jinqi and Jinyuan to open their storage rings. Otherwise, they would not even be able to open their storage rings. Swoosh! Countless colorful umbrellas opened up, looking like mutated dandelions. The descending speed was getting slower and slower, eventually reaching a speed that made people feel relieved. The others imitated him and did the same. Yichen wanted to take out his flying puppet, but if he did so, he would become the target of everyone, since he would not be able to use his Jinyuan. One flying puppet would be enough to cause chaos, and he was not sure if he could take on the evil demon master and Master Jade River. "You can borrow my clothes." Murong Qingqing was a woman after all, so her clothes were all dresses and underwear, which was not very elegant. Murong Qingqing chuckled, "No need, I have this." A black shadow flashed past, and a pair of specially made gliding wings appeared on Murong Qingqing's back. They were black in color, and were 5 meters long when stretched out, looking like the wings of a demon or a bat. With the gliding wings, Murong Qingqing had regained her flying ability. Although it was a bit weak, it was better than nothing. With Murong Qingqing's help, Yichen hitched a ride. Countless umbrellas landed in the deep rainforest. Soon, Murong Qingqing and Yichen landed nearby as well, standing on a huge branch. The trees in this rainforest are indeed huge. Because of the humidity and heat, the trees in the rainforest were very easy to rot. Therefore, it was already quite impressive to have 70 to 80 meters tall trees. However, none of the trees in this rainforest were lower than 100 meters. The bushes between the trees were even taller than the towers. Those vines were like huge pythons, intertwining and climbing all over the place. Damn! What the hell is this place? There were about 80 people in the underground world. An astral-reaching realm warrior took out his weapon and chased away a head-sized mosquito. Buzz! Buzz buzz buzz, the speed of the mosquito was very fast. The sound of its wings flapping was no different from that of a bomber. In just a flash, it had arrived at the man's neck. Its mouthpart, which was as long as a chopstick, was inserted deep into the man's neck. With a strong suction, a large amount of blood was extracted. Ah! The blood-curdling screams echoed out as the astral-reaching realm warrior, whose blood had been sucked by the mosquito, shriveled up at a speed visible to the naked eye, looking like a dried corpse. Meanwhile, that head-sized mosquito instantly expanded to the size of a wash basin, its abdomen swollen dark red, filled with blood. Chi! The astral-reaching realm warrior right next to him reacted quickly. He shook his long spear and pierced through the mosquito's head. Buzz 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 buzz. At the same time, a few head-sized mosquitoes flew out of the bushes and headed toward the nearest rock spiritualist. Courting death. The rock spirit warrior's weapons were two huge iron hammers. When the hammers were waved, a sonic boom was heard and 3 mosquitoes were killed. However, the last mosquito was more cunning. It took advantage of the time difference and flashed to the back of the rock spirit warrior, then forcefully inserted its proboscis. Not good. My back is numb. The body of a Sea of Souls realm warrior was way too powerful. No matter how sharp the proboscis of the mosquito was, it would only be able to penetrate half an inch. However, the mosquitoes in this rainforest were not normal mosquitoes. Their proboscis carried a powerful paralyzing toxin, which instantly numbed the rock spirit warrior's back, rendering him unable to feel anything. Before the toxin had spread to his whole body, the rock spirit warrior smashed his hammer onto his back. Boom! Blood splashed everywhere as the mosquito was smashed into minced meat, sticking on the back of the rock spirit warrior's clothes. Observing the rock spirit warrior's condition, Yichen said with a low voice, "This place is not simple. If I have guessed it right, this mosquito should be a rank 3 demonic beast, the dragon blood mosquito, which only existed in the ancient times. Its attacking power is not that powerful, but it can pierce through the protective Jin Yuan of clasping Yuan realm warriors. Without Jin Yuan, even an astral-reaching realm warrior would die after being bitten." With the huge knowledge of the Battle King, Yichen knew a lot of things, including the rare dragon blood mosquitoes. Ancient demonic beasts. Hearing him, Murong Qingcheng was a bit surprised. Ancient demonic beasts were even more powerful than normal demonic beasts, and they could even challenge those with higher realms. The numbness has weakened. After killing the dragon blood mosquitoes, the paralyzing toxin on the rock spirit warrior's back disappeared automatically. He let out a breath of relief as he wiped off the cold sweat on his forehead. Right then, more buzzing noises were heard. According to the noise made by the dragon blood mosquitoes, it was still dozens of miles away. The scariest part was that the mosquitoes were naturally very sensitive to fresh blood. If they did not leave this place, they would be caught sooner or later. Let's go. No one dared to slow down as they headed in the opposite direction of the noise. The rainforest was very hot, and the trees and weeds were very dense. The people walking in the front waved their weapons from time to time, cutting down the plants that were blocking their way. Be careful. In this world, the mental power is restricted a lot. Yichen and Murong Qingcheng walked in the middle of the group. Along the way, Yichen kept spreading out his soul power to check the surroundings. He realized that in the rainforest, the range of his soul power was not more than 300 meters, and the mental power was even more restricted. It could not even reach 10% of his soul power. It should be known that his soul power was a couple of times more powerful than normal astral-reaching realm warriors. According to the ratio, the mental power of extreme astral-reaching realm warriors would not be able to reach more than 10 meters. What could he do within 10 meters? Even without his Jin Yuan, Yichen could reach more than 100 meters within a second. 10 meters would be 1/10 of a blink of an eye. Yeah! Murong Qingcheng nodded. She had already tried it, and the maximum range of her mental power was around 9 meters. After walking for a while, the surrounding shrubs disappeared and were replaced by bright flowers that ranged from a few meters to a dozen meters tall. The roots of these flowers took up 80% of their length and were thicker than his waist. They were sparkling and translucent with a hint of tender green. Swoosh! Without making any sound, one of the flowers at the back of the group quietly bloomed. Its root bent and swallowed an astral-reaching realm warrior. After a couple of blinks of an eye, that astral-reaching realm warrior had disappeared without a trace. Gradually, someone finally realized that something was wrong. The seemingly harmless flowers around them were man-eating flowers that wanted to devour people. The liquid inside the flowers was highly corrosive and could digest a person in a short period of time. Not even the bones needed to be spat out. It's the bone-eating flower. Yi Chen had been paying attention to the flowers, and only now did he find the information about them from the Battle King's knowledge. The bone-eating flower was also an ancient species. From the outside, the flower bud was only half the size of a human's body, and seemed harmless. However, once it launched an attack, the flower bud would instantly expand to a couple of meters in size, and could even swallow a small beast. In fact, no one had let their guard down. However, the bone-eating flower did not pick the most obvious places to attack. It only targeted the people who were at the edge of the group. Chop off their roots. Someone held a weapon and started to hack at the roots of the bone-eating flower. Shoo! 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 Something shocking happened. His body flashed a couple of times, turning into a black shadow and jumping into the depths of the jungle. Shoo! 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 More and more arrows were shot over. The Three Meridians warrior used his soul power to sense and avoid 99% of the attacks. The remaining 2 or 3 arrows only managed to pierce through his skin, but only managed to go 1 or 2 centimeters in. Die! The Three Meridians warrior threw out a palm attack, and the huge tree in front of him was broken in half. The top part of the tree flew out, landing on 3 or 4 underground humans. He then grabbed an injured one and went back to where he was standing. Chapter 430. Seeing that their own people had been captured, the underground people hiding in the depths of the rainforest were extremely furious. Countless arrows shot out like a torrential rain, 1/3 of which were aimed at the 3 spirit warriors. A bunch of uncivilized barbarians. Go back! The Demon Master had made his move. As a member of the group, although he did not care about the lives of the others, it did not mean that he did not care right now. It should be known that the more people there were, the more power there was. Especially in the situation where they had lost their Jin Yuan, any Sea of Souls realm warriors could not be lost. He waved one of his hands, and the sky full of arrows froze before flying back. Pooh! 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 The arrows came fast, but they did not go slow either. The trees were punctured, and the plants were flattened. In the depths of the rainforest, countless underground people were hit by the arrows, nailing onto the nearby trees and ground. Master-level martial will. It was Yi Chen's first time seeing a master-level warrior using his full power. Although the martial will was not as powerful as the sword will in terms of attacking power, it was way more powerful in other aspects. For example, the attack that the Demon Master had just done was something that Yi Chen could not do. Glancing at the Demon Master, Yi Chen thought to himself, in terms of attacking power, both of them are way weaker than me. But the martial will can not only increase the attacking power, but also the defense and speed. If I fight one-on-one, my chance of winning is not that high. If I fight one-on-two, I will definitely lose. I hope this will not happen. Yi Chen had not condensed the true sword spirit yet, so his cultivation was not as powerful as the Sea of Souls realm warriors. But, his sword spirit embryo contained the immortal element, which was naturally powerful. Combined with the martial will light that only a master-level warrior could have, it was definitely a master-level sword will. Its attacking power was so powerful that only master-level sword artists could compete with it. Other master-level warriors would not be able to compete with it. However, he understood that powerful attacking power did not mean powerful battling power. Moreover, the body of a master-level warrior would be even more powerful than his. Meanwhile, his body could only compete with normal Sea of Souls realm warriors, and it was still because he had been trained by the petals of the sky demon flower. Bang! Seeing that the demon ancestor had taken care of the trouble, the Three Meridians martial artist chuckled coldly. With a shake of his palm, the captive subterranean human's feet left the ground and crashed into a 5 to 6 meter thick tree at the side. With a poochie sound, the Three Meridians martial artist picked up an arrow and shot it. However, willpower is indeed very powerful. These people have only learned a little bit of it, and have not reached a very deep level. It's said that when willpower reaches a very high level, it can even tear down the stars in the sky and disintegrate anything. Originally, he was still analyzing what kind of power the subterranean humans were using. Hearing the demon ancestor's words, he immediately found information related to willpower, which gave him a fright. This world does not belong to us. I wonder what their strength and position are here. Murong Qingqing frowned and said in a low voice. Yi Chen nodded. I think the others should have considered this question. Ho! 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 The subterranean humans quickly recovered from the demon ancestor's fierce attack. They did not shoot out arrows again, but this time, it was an attack that was even more threatening than the arrows. The grass in the surroundings shook like waves, and the sound of rapid movement could be heard continuously. Judging from the height of the grass and the frequency of the shaking, it was not the subterranean humans who were attacking, but some kind of extremely fast creature that was not more than 1.5 meters tall. This made everyone even more nervous, and they all adjusted their postures, ready to fight at any time. Shoo! The first creature jumped out of the grass. It was 2 meters long and 1 and 2 meters tall, with the body of a dog, but 10 times more powerful than a dog. Its body, which did not have long fur, was covered with black and yellow patterns, which were generally dark in color. Four sickle-like claws extended from its huge feet, and compared to its body, its head, which was not too big, was wrapped in a thick bone armor. A pair of fierce eyes shone with a cruel light, and its huge mouth was filled with sharp teeth, dripping with a light purple liquid. It was a huge dog from the subterranean world. Ho! The huge dog roared, throwing an astral-reaching realm warrior who was closest to it onto the ground. It opened its mouth and bit down, and the warrior did not even have the time to scream before his head was separated from his body, blood splashing everywhere. Soon after, even more giant hounds pounced out and engaged in a chaotic battle with the crowd. Due to the ferocity of their attacks, the giant hounds had the absolute upper hand. We have become the prey. Based on his intuition, Yi Chen thought that the subterranean humans were treating them like prey. First, they attacked with arrows, then released the huge dogs. This was the most effective way for the hunters on the surface world. He did not know what was waiting for them. A huge dog jumped into the air, jumping towards Murong Qingqing. Murong Qingqing's expression did not change. She reached out with her right hand, which was wearing a gold silk glove, and grabbed the huge dog's neck before twisting her body. Using the inertia, she smashed the huge dog onto the ground, making a loud sound. Blood leaked out from the corner of the huge dog's mouth as it struggled with all its might. Kacha! With a twist of her wrist, Murong Qingqing broke the dog's neck. On the other side, there were 2 huge dogs jumping towards Yi Chen. With the destruction sword in his hand, Yi Chen took a quick step back and reached out his right arm, stabbing out a huge dog's right eye at a lightning speed. Then, he changed his footwork, his body moving with the sword. The tip of the sword sliced through the huge dog's face and landed on the other dog's throat. Shoo! Blood spilled everywhere as the 2 huge dogs fell onto the ground one after another. Without waiting for them to struggle, Yi Chen killed them one by one, cleanly. Such a tough skin defense. I am afraid it is even more powerful than most of the people here. Sea of Souls realm warriors did not need to be mentioned. Their body toughness was unparalleled, and Yi Chen was also at this level. Among the remaining astral-reaching realm warriors, only a few of them had trained body training martial arts, which allowed them to compete with the huge dogs. The rest of them could only use their skills to kill their enemies. Shoo! 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 Taking advantage of the huge dogs attracting everyone's attention, the underground humans attacked again. Countless arrows were shot out from different angles like poisonous snakes, taking lives one after another. Being attacked passively was not Yi Chen's style. He pushed his sword steps and turned into a beam of sword light, attacking toward the direction of the arrows. Fast 4 sword attacks. The destruction sword, which contained the slaughter sword intent, threw out 4 sword attacks in a row. 4 beams of sword light crisscrossed through the air, cutting down trees and separating bushes. The whole space seemed to have been torn apart, and blood spilled everywhere. Earth as sky. The Yin Demon Master did not notice Yi Chen's movement. His body flashed, blowing away the 2 huge dogs that were charging at him. He then jumped into the air, raising his right hand high up and attacking toward the depths of the rainforest. Boom! Without Jin Yuan, it did not mean that he could not perform profound sense martial arts. Just relying on his martial will alone, this palm attack from the Yin Demon Master was not something a normal person could handle. The ground in front of him cracked open and rolled up, sucking in everything within its range. It was quite a visual impact. Master Jade River did not fall behind. He drew half circles with both of his hands, twisting the air and the Yuan Qi of the underground world with his martial will, gathering into a huge spiraling force field. He used another method to perform a profound sense martial art that required one to make hand seals, Great Jade Spiral. Swish! After killing a lot of underground humans, Yi Chen was just about to choose a new battlefield when he suddenly frowned. Using his soul power, he sensed that the surroundings had been covered by a layer of invisible net. It was a mental net. Without soul power, one would not be able to sense its existence at all. An even more powerful underground human has appeared. Yi Chen did not need to guess to know that it was a master of the underground humans. The web of will was many times more brilliant than the will contained in the arrow. This meant that the opponent's will was very strong, able to affect reality alone and create an invisible but substantial net. You're tuning into the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.